I'm always excited about these new updates. This is the fourth edition of Marilyn Stockstead's textbook that I've been in charge of. So I have this experience of each time we do a new edition, it builds excitement within me as the author because of all the things we can do. We can introduce better works of art, to represent ideas, better pictures, new interpretations. We can take advantage of the reviewers' comments of people who are using the book, so we can bring it up to date that way. And and we also get to develop new assets for Revel. We get to expand what we can do with interactives. We build a whole new set of assessments that take into account the new works and also the way this fits into the history of art at that particular moment in time. But I think what I'm most excited, that's all new additions, but what I'm especially excited about in the seventh edition is the goal from the beginning of making this book more global in focus by expanding coverage of Asian art and Islamic art and African art, and bringing the contemporary chapter up to date. And we were able to bring in specialists who could work with me on how these expansions could happen so that at the end of the revision, the book is more global and inclusive than it was before. And I think that's a goal that I'm excited about putting forward. Um, what differentiates this book from the other books that people could use? And I think it goes back to when I was brought into this project in 2007. Marilyn had written the book in the 1990s to address students of the 21st century. She believed there needed to be a new approach in a variety of ways. And I think I bought into that immediately because it was very consistent with the kind of teaching I was doing in the classroom. And she outlined for me principles that had to be accepted before she agreed to write the book in the first place. The first was that it would be inclusive. And at that particular moment in time in the 1990s, being inclusive meant that there would be works of art by women as well as by men. There would be works of art in all kinds of places around the world, not just primarily in America and Europe. And we've worked to increase that inclusiveness to include all kinds of other people in the process. And what that did, a byproduct of this, was that it allowed us to expand the definition of art in the book to include things other than oil paintings and bronze sculptures. Marilyn brought in all kinds of other media, other types of objects and golds, and that's still a part of the book. It's something that we do each time we reviews the book. The second principle she wanted to be accepted is that there are art museums all over the United States and Canada, and the students in North America who would be using this book need to be able to go to the museum in their neighborhood and find something that is in the book. So she urged me to continue including works of art from various parts of the United States so that students in most places will be able to reach out and look at something in person that they actually see in the textbook. She also wanted a promise before she wrote this book that it would not highlight works that sensationalized violence being visited on women. There are a lot of works of art that were a part of the canon in the 20th century that she didn't want to be there. I wish I had the time to tell the story of how she explained this to me. Maybe someday I can do that, but I have continued that particular goal as well. And the goal that actually I thought about a lot in this edition was the goal to make this book welcoming and accessible, to use the kind of discussion of art that would engage beginners, college beginners. And I think, This is easier to do now because we have Revel, and Revel has these assets and videos and Zooms that allow the student to have that kind of open access to aspects of the work of art that wouldn't be possible just with the written word. But those four basic principles of Marilyn's book make it different from most of the alternatives. And I think that especially the notion that the book needs to be written. I mean, you just say, I remember in the 1970s taking my art history survey course with a textbook that was impenetrable for me, sitting in Nashville, Tennessee in my early 20s. So I'm dedicated to that, and I think that's what makes this book different. Number one thing, that the new edition has been expanded to give more attention to Chinese, Korean, Japanese, and Islamic art. In fact, with the Islamic art, and this is not going to be a short answer maybe, with the Islamic art, we actually now have two chapters rather than one, so we can have Islamic art in volume 1 of the splits and volume 2 of the splits. That's something to remember. There's been an expansion toward more global coverage in the book. Number two, it has remained faithful to Marilyn's dedication to make this the story of the history of art inclusive and inviting. And three, I'll mention it again, I would encourage folks to realize how important it is that we have expanded, refined the way that we present material to students in a text using Revel. There'll be new assessments, there'll be new closer looks, there'll be new videos. There'll be, just yesterday, I was looking at a new architectural video for students. And so I think this makes it more engaging. So it actually realizes that goal of Maryland's to make this inviting and engaging. So expanded global coverage, inclusive and inviting, and expanded ways that students can engage with the works of art themselves. Happy to participate in a Zoom with faculty adopters. I'd be happy to do phone calls. I'd be happy to be sent to campus somewhere. Years ago, that's what would often happen. I would be sent to campus, but now that we have ways to be on campus without flying and staying in motels, I'd be willing to engage with faculty. They can give me a call. I can give them a call. They can create Zoom meetings so that we could discuss the aspects of the book together.